Dear friends, welcome to International Organizations and Groupings series under InQuest program. Dear friends, under this series, we are learning about various international organizations and groupings. This activity is useful for your UPSC prelims, mains and essay writing, KPSC and other state public service commission examinations, and all other competitive examinations. Dear friends, under this series, in the previous episode, we learned about a group that is United Nations Organization. So this is the second video in the series. Today, we will be learning about a group that is nothing but BRICS. Now, what are the things that we will be learning under BRICS? Number one, what is BRICS and what are the objectives of BRICS and what is the structure of BRICS, the salient features of it, geography of BRICS and significance of BRICS to India, then financial architecture, then various summits of BRICS. Dear friends, first and foremost, let us understand what you mean by BRICS. So BRICS is actually an acronym. So it is coined to associate five major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and it was established in the year 2006. So the first letter of each of these member countries has been taken and they made it as an acronym that is nothing but BRICS. Now, what is the major focus of BRICS? The BRICS members are known for their significant influence on regional affairs. So they majorly concentrate upon the regional affairs of its member nations. Since 2009, the governments of BRICS states have met annually at formal summits. India hosted the most recent 13th BRICS summit in September 2021. So this was held virtually. So though the association was formed in the year 2006, but the first summit was done in the year 2009. So since 2009, every year there have been various summits, and the latest one is the 13th summit. It was hosted by India and it was in September 2021 virtually. Originally, the first four were grouped as BRIC. So what you need to understand here is BRICS was not BRICS before. It was only BRIC because South Africa was not in the group, and South Africa was added into the group in the year 2010. Now, who coined the name BRIC? The acronym BRIC was initially formulated in the year 2001 by an economist, that is Jim O'Neill. So understand the chronology here. So 2001, the acronym was coined. 2006, BRIC Association was formed. 2009, the first BRIC summit was started, and 2010 South Africa was added into the group. So this is the chronology by which the association of BRICS actually unfolded. Next, so let us understand more about this association. Now, since it has five major countries in the association, so let us see the current leaders of each and every member country. Brazil, the present president is Jair Bolsonaro. Russia, it is Vladimir Putin. India, it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. China, President Xi Jinping, and South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. And the formation of BRICS happened in the year 2006 in the month of September, and it happened in United Nations General Assembly in the 61st session. And first BRICS summit was held in 2009. It is on 16th June 2009, and it was founded at United Nations headquarters, New York. And first BRICS summit was held in Ekaterinburg, and it is intergovernmental organization. And the headquarters of BRICS is there in Shanghai, China, and name of the headquarters is BRICS Towers. Now let us see the geography of BRICS. The BRICS is an association formed by countries in 4 continents. For example, Brazil. Brazil is in South America. So you can see here, this is South America, and this is the country Brazil. And Russia is in Eastern Europe and North Asia. So this is where we have Russia, and this is in both Europe continent and also in the Asian continent. And India and China are very much in Asia. So this is China and this is India. Both are there in Asian continent, and South Africa is in the African continent. So this is where we have South Africa, and this is African continent. So these 5 nations cover 4 continents of the world, and its member states cover an area of over 3 crore 90 lakh square kilometers, which is approximately 27% of the world's land surface. So just 5 countries are covering around 3 crore 90 lakh square kilometers of land. So that is approximately 27% of the world's land surface. Now, let us understand the objectives of BRICS. Number one, BRICS seeks to deepen, broaden, and intensify cooperation within the grouping and among the individual countries for more sustainable, equitable, mutually beneficial development and also poverty alleviation objectives. BRICS member political and security cooperation is aimed at achieving peace, security, development, and cooperation for a more equitable and fair world. Now, what is the structure of BRICS? BRICS does not exist in the form of organization. So we saw in the previous video, United Nations organization. So it is actually a formal organization, but BRICS is not an organization, but it is an annual summit between supreme leaders of 5 nations. And the chairmanship of the forum is rotated annually among the members in accordance with the acronym BRICS. So it goes in the same order: Brazil to Russia, Russia to India, India to China, China to South Africa. It keeps rotating annually from one country to another country in the same chronological order of BRICS. Now, what are the salient features of BRICS? Together, BRICS accounts for 40% of world's population. This is huge. Just 5 countries, account for 40% of the world's population, and about 30% of the world's GDP has been contributed by the BRICS nations, making it a critical economic engine. And it's an emerging investment market and global power bloc. Now, what is the importance of BRICS to India? India can benefit from collective strength of BRICS by way of consultation and cooperation. So we can always have consultation and cooperation on economic issues majorly of mutual interests, as well as topical global issues such as international terrorism, climate change, food and energy security, reforms of global governance institutions, etc. Now, the bank, that is a new development bank. So we are going to study about this later. The new development bank, it is also called as BRICS Bank, will help India to raise and avail resources for their infrastructure and sustainable development projects. So, NDB will fund India for our infrastructure and sustainable development projects. The NDB has approved its first set of loans, which included a loan of 250 million US dollars in respect of India for multi-tranche financing facility for renewable energy financing scheme. So we have already availed loan from New Development Bank. This is how we are benefited from BRICS Association. Now, what are the areas of cooperation? Major area of cooperation is economic cooperation. There are rapidly growing trade and investment flows between BRICS countries, as well as economic cooperation activities across a range of sectors. Agreements have been concluded in the area of economic and trade cooperation, innovation cooperation, customs cooperation, strategic cooperation between the BRICS Business Council, contingent reserve agreement, and the New Development Bank. So we will be understanding what is CRA and what is New Development Bank in this presentation itself. The second main focus area of BRICS is people-to-people exchange. Now, what is people-to-people exchange? BRICS members have recognized the need for strengthening people-to-people exchanges and to foster closer cooperation in the areas of culture, sports, education, film, and youth. And people-to-people exchanges seeks to forge new friendship, deepen relations, and mutual understanding between BRICS people in the spirit of openness, inclusiveness, diversity, and mutual learning. Such people-to-people exchanges include Young Diplomats Forum, Parliamentarian Forum, Trade Union Forum, Civil BRICS, as well as Media Forum. Now, let us understand the financial structure of BRICS. Currently, there are two components that make up the financial architecture of BRICS. Number one, it is New Development Bank. It is also sometimes referred to as BRICS Development Bank. And number 2 is contingent reserve arrangement. In short, it is called as CRA. Both of these components were signed into treaty in the year 2014 and they become active in the year 2015. And New Development Bank is located in Shanghai. Now let us know more about the function of New Development Bank. It is a multilateral development bank operated by the 5 BRICS states. The bank's primary focus of lending will be on infrastructure projects. So it is going to lend money on infrastructure projects to all BRICS nations with authorized lending up to $34 billion annually. Annually, they can fund up to $34 billion. The bank will have a starting capital of $50 billion with wealth increasing to $100 billion over time. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa will initially contribute $10 billion each to bring the total to $50 billion. So this is how the member countries are contributing to New Development Bank. Next, BRICS Contingent Reserve Agreement. Now, what is the function of BRICS Contingent Reserve Agreement? The BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement, it's not agreement, it's an arrangement. In short, it is called as CRA, is a framework for providing protection against global liquidity pressures. So you should know the difference between New Development Bank and CRA. New Development Bank will fund for infrastructure development, but CRA takes care or protects against global liquidity pressures. This includes currency issues where members' national currencies are being adversely affected by global finance pressure. So whenever there are global finance pressures of any country under the BRICS, CRA is going to come into picture. The CRA is generally seen as a competitor to International Monetary Fund, and along with New Development Bank is viewed as an example of increasing South-South cooperation, because most of the countries that are in BRICS are in the south part of the world. So that's why we call it as South-South cooperation. It was established in 2015 by BRICS countries. The legal basis is found by the Treaty for the Establishment of a BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement signed at Fortaleza, Brazil on 15 July 2014. Now let us see various summits where they were actually held and what were the major discussions. The very first BRICS summit was held in Russia. It was on 16 June 2009. And the topics discussed were global recession, and it was major news at that time. And some of the specific topics discussed were food, trade, climate trade, and security. And you should remember that during the time of first BRICS summit, South Africa was not the part of BRICS association. And second BRICS summit was held in the year 2010. It was on 15th April and it was hosted by Brazil. So here once again there was a continuation on the same topic of global recession, and they had a conversation on IMF and climate change and more ways to form cooperation between the states. And during the second summit also, South Africa was not the part of the BRICS association. And third summit, it happened in the year 2011 on 14th April, hosted by China. So it is the first summit to include South Africa alongside the original BRIC countries. So in the third summit, the discussions were on global and international economies of these countries. Fourth summit was held in the year 2012 on 29th March, and it was hosted by India. And the major decision that took place in this particular summit was the BRICS cable announced an optical fiber submarine communication cable system that carries telecommunication between BRICS countries. Then fifth summit was hosted by South Africa. It was held between 26 and 27 March 2013, and the discussions were like the New Development Bank proposition and a contingent reserve agreement. BRICS also announced the Business Council and its think tank council in the fifth summit. And sixth summit was hosted by Brazil, and it was held in the year 2014. Here, BRICS New Development Bank and BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement agreements signed. So both the financial architectures of BRICS were signed in the sixth summit of BRICS. They established the Fortaleza Declaration and Action Plan in the 6th summit. Next, 7th summit of BRICS was held in the year 2015, and it was between 8 and 9 of July, and it was hosted by Russia. Here, this summit was again joint summit with SCO and EAEO, that means Eurasian Economic Union and Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So in this summit, various discussions were like global and economic problems and better ways to foster cooperation between the member nations. And 8th summit was held in the year 2016 in the month of October, and India hosted the summit, and Narendra Modi was the hosting leader, and it was once again joint summit with BIMSTEC. The 8th BRICS summit debated on topics like counter-terrorism, economies, and climate change. BRICS also issued the Goa Declaration and Action Plan, hoping to harden their relationships. And 9th summit was held in the year 2017 in the month of September, hosted by China, and hosting leader was Xi Jinping. And here the major discussion was bright future for BRICS and what their goals intended to be. And 10th summit was held in the year 2018 in the month of July, hosted by South Africa, and hosting leader was Cyril Ramaphosa. Here, the major discussions were on the rising industries. Next, 11th summit was held or hosted by Brazil, and it was held in the year 2019 in the month of November, and the hosting leader was Jair Bolsonaro. And this is in this 11th summit discussed advancements in BRICS science and innovation field, primarily trying to advance technology and digital currency. They made mutual agreements to help stop drug trafficking and organized crime, both internationally and internally. 12th summit was actually planned to conduct between 21 and 23rd July of 2020, but it was postponed due to COVID pandemic. Later, it was held in the month of November 2020 on 17th through video conference. It was hosted by Russia, and hosting leader was Vladimir Putin. And this is again joint summit with SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization, discussing a mutual agreement on helping BRICS member countries to help foster better living standards and quality of life for each country's people. Plans on focusing on peace, economies, and cultural and societal issues. And 13th, the latest summit was hosted by India, and hosting leader was Narendra Modi. It was hosted from New Delhi. It was on 9 September 2011. It is also through video conference, and major topics discussed were reforming multilateral system, United Nations Security Council reforms, space and climate cooperation, agricultural cooperation, and green tourism. And the next summit will be held in the same chronological order. That will be 14th summit, BRICS. So 13th was held in India, and 14th should be held in China. Now, so all these were the details about BRICS and its features, its objectives, and banking system and everything. Now, let us learn something which is not directly related to BRICS, but these are all straight GK points that might help you in your preliminary examination. So these are the facts related to BRIC nations. Number one, Amazon rainforest, this is in Amazonas, Brazil, is the largest rainforest in the world, and it is also known as lungs of the earth. Mount Elbrus, located in Caucasus, is the highest point of both Russia and Europe. And third point, Volga River in Mary Ivan is the longest river in both Russia and Europe. And Ganges River in the northern plains in India is the fourth largest river by discharge in the world. Next, Ganges Delta in West Bengal, India and Bangladesh is the largest river delta in the world. Next, Western Ghats in India is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is one of the 8 hottest hotspots of biological diversity in the world. Next, we have Kanchenjunga, located in Sikkim, India, and Nepal is the 3rd highest mountain in the world. Then Yangtze River in Yunnan, China is the 3rd largest river by length in the world. Next, we have Drakensberg in Eastern Cape, South Africa, and Lesotho. So it is Lesotho is in South Africa. is the highest mountain range in South Africa. And finally, we have Iguazu Falls in Paraná, Brazil, is the largest waterfall system in the world. So these are all the details of BRICS and a few GK points related to BRICS nations that you can use in your preliminary and mains examination as well. So if you have any doubts in this session or any questions, you can definitely put in comments box. We will try to reply to your questions. Thanks for watching. Namaste.